So good evening. This is my mini tutorial on how to create a cover with PowerPoint. I'm going to do a very simple one so that it's not too confusing and not too complicated. Okay, so here we go. The first thing you want to do is open a new PowerPoint document. And as you can see, you're going to be faced with this screen, two boxes. So you want to, first of all, delete these boxes. We don't really need them. So let's take them out. You just click on the edge of the box and you delete. Once you have now got a nice square, well, rectangular box, you need to resize this box to fit your exact measurements for the cover that you are looking to create. Remember that PowerPoint works in centimeters. So most of the templates like tangent templates and the KDP template are all either in inches or pixels or points. So you need to convert. The easiest way to do that is to go onto Google and just type into the Google search engine, convert inches to centimeters, and it will come up with a converter, and you can just then convert those really easily. When you are putting your sizes in, you need to work to the third decimal place. It is the best way to get the exact size of page that you need. So to start off with, you go to Design in the top menu and you slide along, right along here to the right hand side of the screen, and you click on Slide Size. Select Custom Slide Size, and a box will come up with some measurements, and into those measurements you are going to put in the size of your page. Now I'm going to do an 8.5 inch by 11 inch page. Converted into centimeters, that is 44.399 centimeters by 28.575. Click OK, click Ensure Fit, and there you have the right size. The next thing that you should do, and I do this all the time, I basically go onto Tangent Templates or onto KDP and download the size template that I want for the right number of pages. So in this case, this book is an 100-page book. So the spine is designed for that. You can choose a different size, 150, 200 pages, and your template will change size. I always download those templates and save them. And then what I do is I create PowerPoint templates that fit those sizes, and I hold on to them because at some point in the future I'm going to make the same book repeatedly, let's be honest. So here we go. Insert cover pages, the cover page template. It goes in, and as you can see, perfect fit. And I don't need that. Okay. If you are going to create one of those composition cover books, that's really easy. Click on Home, and here in the middle of the screen you will see this box of boxes and lines. That is an incredibly useful tool, this here. So you want to make sure you learn how to use this properly. To create a spine to any color of box, this is actually called a marquee tool. So you can create boxes of any shape or size, as you can see, just by dragging. Once you've got what you want, and we're going to make a spine, you right click on the edge of the box that you've just created, and you can see here that you have some options. To change the outline, you choose a color. You can also choose the weight of the line that you're picking. You can also choose the fill color that you want for your particular box. So in this case, I'm going to go black on black because it's going to be a spine. You could also have no color, which will just be a black box anyway in this case. So that is how you create a shape. Say, for instance, you wanted to create a nameplate. Again, the rectangular tool, create your box. You then can change the outline. So we're going to go with a black outline again, and click on it again. We will choose the weight. So we're going to have a nice hefty weight around the edge of our box, and click on the box again, and you can change the color of the fill. In this case, we'll have it as white because traditionally the nameplate on the front of a box is a white box. You also got a really easy way of drawing lines in Publisher. This up here, this little box here, is how you create lines, and you literally just click on one side of the box, drag to the other side, and let go, and now you have a line. That line is movable, so you can edit it however you want. That line is also editable in terms of the color it can be, the weight it can be. So again, we'll go to the outline, so we can have a much thicker line. You can change the color of it. You can even change, if you're not happy about it touching all the way to the end, you can bring it in just by dragging the little circles in. You can also copy it, so over onto the left hand side, so the copy control, and then paste it, and you now have two lines, all of which was done in a couple of clicks of a button. So how handy is that? In PowerPoint, if you click on Insert, you will find the Word menus. So this is where you can create your word art. A simple text box in which you can write whatever you like. You have the ability to center, off center, justify, just the same way you do in Word. You can choose a different font if you choose. So anything you like, let's go with a Harani. You can choose different sizes for your text. You can choose different colors. You can choose bold. You can choose to put a shadow around this, all sorts of things, really. It's really useful. So we'll leave that there. But there's also another form of word art that you can use. So back to Insert, and here you will see the word art tool. Now the word art tool is quite clever because you can choose so many different styles of lettering, and you also have the ability to change the color of the text, the color of the shadow, how the font that it's going to be used in, and also the size of the font. So you, again, scalable, completely movable. You can also rotate and do all of those kind of clever things with it. So I always like this one quite a lot. So and if I click on the box, I can fill the box with a background color if I want to. I can change the text by highlighting the text. I can change and clicking on the home button, which takes me back to the font menu. I can change the font that we are playing with. I can change the size. So you can create quite nice titles. These boxes are all rotatable. So if you wanted to be able to put your title onto the spine, all you have to do is rotate it and put it in the right place, size it to the right size, and away you go. So Control A to click on the box, Control A to select all the letters, and then size down. And then that whole box can then slip into there if that's what I want. One of the other things that you have on this package is shapes. So the shapes, not just squares, you've got circles, you've got rectangles, all these stuff, but all of these shapes are fillable. So if you decide that you want to put a random shape into your picture, like an arrow, let's do an arrow. And you then decide that actually I like this arrow, but I'd like to fill it with some texture, you can do that. You click on the fill, you go down to picture. You choose the picture that you want or the texture that you want to put in. Let's go with that one. It's random. There you go. So that is how you can make shapes that have got colour, and again, completely movable. You can even flip. If you pull on the right side, or whichever side direction you want it to change, you can actually move that around. Oops, I've clicked on the wrong thing. Whoops. Now, if I was unhappy with that arrow being in front of the composition box, all I have to do is click on Arrange, Send Backwards, click on it a couple of times, and as you can see, it's now going behind things. So each time I click on it, it's going behind the next item in the list. A quicker way of doing that is to click on the item that's at the back and just put bring to front, and it's right back there. You also can change the shape and the width of these items at will to do what you want with. Okay, so previously, when I was showing some of the work that I'd done yesterday, I was saying to you how easy it was in Photoshop to actually put a transparency on. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well whilst I'm here. So in order to do that, I can choose to create. I always pick that box by mistake, and I really don't want that one. I want the square. So choose the marquee tool and create a color box. And I want to send that backwards behind everything. Something else I want to show just quickly whilst I'm thinking about it. You can group items together, which will mean that they stay together and that they don't move around. And that is quite powerful because it means that you basically can take lots of little elements at the same time and turn them into a graphic that then you can shift around without worrying that you're going to have to keep removing everything and resizing everything and making it all, you know, and keep having to make changes to each section. You can just have it in one whole bit. And this is how you do it. You hold down the control key and you click on each item that you want to put in the group. And then when it's all highlighted, you click on Arrange and you put Group. Now, PowerPoint is treating that whole group as one item, and you can move it as such. You can also see that there is now a red line down the center of the screen. That is telling me that this box is perfectly positioned in the center of that section. PowerPoint has worked out that I am working on one side of this page and that I want to center things to the side of the page. So it has automatically looked at that and said, yeah, this is what she's doing. Let's give her a guide to show her that she's in the right area. So I've put in my box. Right, let's bring this to the front. So it's covering. I want to put the same color page on the other side. So what I do to do that is click on the box, either Control C for copy or copy, the copy button, and then paste or Control V, whichever you prefer. I like shortcuts. So, and then move that to where I want it to be. And again, bring this to the front. Okay, so here we go. I've got my color background. It's all ready. what I need to now do is bring in the transparencies that I'm going to put on top. So I click on Insert, go to Pictures, find the pictures, the transparencies that I'm particularly interested in putting on this book, and bring them in. So I'm going to pick that one. And as you can see, it is completely transparent and the background is showing through very nicely. So if I want to then move this into position, resize it to the size that I want it, now if you're not sure about what is going on in terms of the guidelines, what you can do is send your color bit to the back to the back of the document. So send to the back until you are finished setting up, positioning your elements onto your book. Whilst it's at the back, you can now see where the guidelines are. So you know that you need to stay within this purple space around the edge, which is again quite useful because it means you can really maneuver and manipulate your elements into position until you're really happy with them. Let's put another one in. Let's find something else that we like. Oh, how about that one? Might be rubbish, but we'll soon find out. It's a bit large, so manipulate it down in size. Change that color because it's horrible. Right, what color shall we have? Right, you do have a color picker on PowerPoint. So the eyedropper tool, you can choose a color from within the elements that you're putting on. And now, as you can see, that now matches very nicely with the color that I've chosen for the pictures of the roses. And I can now manipulate that into the space that I want it. And as you can see, it's quite, I think that's quite sweet. So let's bring that, make sure that's at the front, bring to the front. Okay, so I've chosen quite a wild colour for the background, which obviously is probably not the best. So let's send, what I'm going to do now is send the template right back to the back again. So send to the back, which brings the blue forward. And this blue is quite loud compared to the actual picture itself. The other thing you can think about is that you don't actually, you can overlap the edges of this template. The size will be saved to the size of the page. So if there's an overlap of colour, it won't affect the size of your actual finished document because it just gets ignored as not really being there. So in order to change this colour, I can now right click on the edge of the box, go to the fill, go to the eyedropper, find a colour that I quite like. Actually, that's not too bad. It's a bit too bright. Fill, go back to fill, eyedropper. There you go. That's a much better colour. Now, because I've chosen that colour once, it will be remembered in the eyedropper tool. So when I click on this box, you can see that the fill is the last colour that I've used is here. So I can just click on that, and now I have 2 pages that are exactly the same. And the same thing goes with any colour. basically. You can just, I could change this over and over and over again. So if I wanted to make this book in several different colors, all I have to do is sit here and use the eyedropper to choose different colors, and I would have so many choices as to what color I could have this book. The roses don't need to move, they could stay the same, but I could still have 15 different color choices. But I could also change the sizes of the roses, shift them around a bit, and again I would have a completely different look. I could also use the same kind of overlays that we saw earlier with the skulls, and put those in all over the page, and again another completely different look. One other thing I wanted to show you is this down here. These little shapes down here are all really quite useful. You can use them to create banners, labels, templates for your work. So for instance, you know, people were talking earlier about putting something on the back of their books that says who they are, and you know, gives you some examples of, you know, how to market yourself, or put examples of what's inside the book. This is somewhere that you could do that. So if I change this to being, say, a dark rose, and change the fill to being maybe not that color, that color doesn't work. Well, I did forget to show you that actually. We also have these things called gradients, which again are so cute. You can choose to make gradient colors, and you can do this on a whole cover and they look really good. Let's do that one because it gives a bit of an oomph to it. And again, we could then put a insert text box on here with your author name or something along those lines, which will make your book memorable. It means that the person who's bought your book has now got your name on it for the rest of the time that they have your book, and it might actually remind them that who they bought the book from, and might bring them back as a customer to you again because they remember that they bought their book from you. So something else to think about. The other thing I quite like on PowerPoint is inside, because of the shapes, you can quite often make things with the shapes. So quite often I will do things like make houses or trees or all sorts of things with these, and you can, because you can manipulate where things like the points are. So as you can see, you can move it. If you right click, you can edit the points, so you can add new points and create completely different shapes. So you can almost really manipulate these to make shapes that fit together, so puzzle pieces. And it's also very powerful for making interiors, because you can use these boxes to create spaces on your pages that are completely unique, and only you will have made them. And if you save these things, then you can always go back and copy and paste them into other documents later on. One of the other things I quite like to do is you can duplicate your pages. So duplicate the slide, and as you can see, it's exactly the same. You can then clear. Quite often I do this before I even begin. I like to save all of a particular style of book together, but you can then have blank pages sitting there waiting for you. Right, I think I've waffled on enough. I hope that that's been helpful. If there's any questions, please put them underneath and I will do my best to answer them. But I'm gonna call it a day now because it's getting late here and I'm quite tired. I will do another one of these videos, if this one works out okay, about doing the same sort of tactic in Photoshop. So hope this has helped somebody. Take care now.